So once you have your signatures like this, and I'm only using 2 because this is really thick paper, and so when it's done, I mean the journal is going to be like that thick, so you know, you want to kind of take that into consideration. Thick paper, I mean paper is heavy, and with thicker paper what's going to happen is your journal is going to be really heavy, and I kind of like being able to carry mine everywhere, so I don't want it to like be too heavy. So when that's done, you're going to want to get a needle that's a bigger needle. You can use, some people use like tapestry needles. I just find like this is mine, it's just got a big eye and it's a bigger one. I usually buy like the multi-pack that has like embroidery on quilting all the way up to like the bigger tapestry ones, because then I can just use them for all kinds of projects. And what we're going to use, this is waxed linen thread, and mine is actually from Hobby Lobby. In the like there's the jewelry section, and there's a section where like they have the hemp and stuff, and they sell this, you know, waxed linen there for like $2. Or you can just use whatever. It depends on, you know, what, if it's just going to sit in a studio and not really like have strenuous activity around it, then, you know, I don't think it would matter what you really kind of used. So we're just going to measure a length of this, and not really measure, I just kind of pull it until I feel like I have enough. And what I do is I actually bite the end of it, because then that flattens it, which makes it easier to thread the needle. Okay, so at the other end of your string you're going to want to tie a knot, but you're going to leave a tail, because you'll need that later on. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I used to use a different method, and then Marianne of Dispatch from LA posted a link to this method, and I really liked it. So sometimes you have to like, it depends on, and then it all depends on like how well you poke the holes in the beginning. Like that's going to make it harder later on when you're sewing. Usually going out is a lot easier. So you're going to go in. So your tail's going to be on the outside of this. And you're just going to go in and out on the first signature. Now I'm coming out of the last hole on the first signature, and you want to pull it so it's tighter. Don't pull this way, never pull this way. What you're going to want to do is pull up so it's like parallel to what you're sewing. So you can just pull it up, and since it's a thicker string, it kind of takes, and since it's a thicker paper, it kind of works. Something to remember is that if you're using like a thinner paper, like just a regular, like what you would use to print on, and you do that, you might rip some of it because it is thinner. So you have to be careful and kind of gauge, you know, this is practice, I know how much I can pull on it. Also, like if you're using a, like an embroidery string or something, because then it would break. So I'm just going to show you on 2 signatures the basic technique. So we're going to line up the second one here, like so. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to line up the second one like this, and you can see that the holes are lined up. And that's because I used a guide to make sure they were. And we're going to go in the first one, like so. And then out the second one. And we're just going to pull that, you know, just push it down so it kind of gets together, and then just pull that a little tighter. But not too tight. If you pull it too tight when you go to open the journal, like it'll, here I'll show you. It kind of like makes this weird kind of, like it looks like a bee almost, because you need, I mean, despite that everyone doesn't want to see space between their their things, I mean, you need a little bit of space, and that just relaxes it a little more. You have to remember that you're going to be putting stuff on this paper, and that's going to expand and expand and expand in the spine. So you need to give it a little leeway, because when you first make it, you might be like, oh, there's a little bit of room, but by the time you get there, you're going to need that extra space, or else it's just going to like be really thin and then like really thick, and it's going to put too much stress on the spine. So, all right, so we've come out of the second hole, and we're going to go into the second hole on this signature. So we're coming out here, and we're going in here, all right, into the first one we've already sewn. So it kind of helps to open it up a little, and it's okay that it slides around like that. This could be a little harder because you've already got stuff in there, like a thread in there. So I'm going into, this is the first one we already sewed. You can see here where I was in. I'm going to pull that tight, and then we're going to come out of the hole on the first signature. Alright? So here's the first signature. You can see this is the original stitch, and this is the one that I just came in. So when you're done, it's going to be like a solid line of thread. Alright? And you can see here how it comes through. You can see it goes from the second signature into the first signature. And now that we've come out of the third hole on the first signature, we're going to go into the third hole on the second one. You can see this one's the second one because it doesn't have any stitches in it. I'll come in, pull that a little tight, and then come out of the next hole in the second signature. Sometimes you gotta work it. Come on. There we go. So then we're going to pull that tight. Okay, so I've come out of the fourth hole on the signature, and I'm going to go into the fourth hole on, oh sorry, my foot's falling asleep. The fourth hole on the first one. You can see here the stitch on the outside already of the first one in the tail from where we started. So you're going to go into that one. So remember this is the first signature. You can see now we're going to finish this and come out. And so this has a solid line in it. So you can tell that's the first signature because it has a solid line. And then you're going to come out of the first one and go into the corresponding hole of the second one. And then just come out the last hole. And if you were, okay, hold on. So come out the last hole and pull that tight. And then you can check it to make sure, you know, it's got the proper tightness that you want. And then what you're going to do is, there's the little tail from where you tied the knot, and here's the string that you're sewing with, and you're just going to tie them together. Like so. I'm going to do a double knot. There we go. And if you were continuing, if you had another signature, then from this point you would go into the next hole and just repeat what you just did, so that the second signature then you would be going in and making this the solid line that's in the first. So here you can see there's a space here. You know, you can kind of tighten it up a little. There is going to be a space, okay? So you're never going to be able to do like a completely gapless one, but as you can see, it's a really small gap. And then when you have that book cloth behind it and you're in the journal, you're really not going to notice it. And as you can see, it lays completely flat whenever you open any page. So since I'm only doing 2 signatures, I'm just going to cut the string. And now we have what we call a text block.